Well, my name is Paul Borosky, and I am the owner of Quality Business Plan, and I am going to be bringing y'all a series on how to write your business plan. And kicking off this series is going to be how to write an executive summary for a business plan. And so the first question I'm always asked is, what the heck's an executive summary? So an executive summary is a 1 or 2 page document that sums up the totality of your business. And it should answer the questions who, what, where, why, when, and how. And the way that I like to write my executive summaries is I always like to break them into categories. And so for almost all my executive summaries, I'm going to go ahead and identify what the problem is, identify and briefly discuss the product. The target market's going to be in my executive summary. Who are you going to be targeting? Who has a problem that your business is going to solve? I always put my competitive advantage, what differentiates your company from others, financial highlights, brief financial highlights showing that you're actually going to be making money, hopefully eventually. And then funding, this is always going to be last, and this is telling the reader, after you've introduced your company and all the good stuff about your company, then in order to get all this good stuff up here, you need a little bit of dough. And so that's when you're going to then ask them for the money. And be specific. When you're asking for money, don't just say, I need about $100,000. Well, that tells them nothing. Be specific. I need $100,000. Tell them when you're going to need the money, and tell them why you actually need the money. All right, so that's your executive summary. Those are the brief topics. So now there's a couple schools of thoughts on how to write an executive summary. One school of thought that's championed by a lot of scholars is that you're going to write your executive summary last. Well, my opinion to that, and I'm an MBA and I'm finishing up my PhD right now, so I would put myself as a scholar, especially since I teach college courses for entrepreneurship and finance and design finance courses. I know a little bit about this, and I write business plans for a living. So with that said, screw the scholars, screw what they're saying. If you're a novice business plan writer, start with your executive summary, because it's going to help you set the parameters of what you want in your business plan. And so again, once you hit all your structure here, your executive summary, your problem, your company, target market, your competitive advantages, financial highlights, and funding, once you have those topics here, then just go back and put 1 to 2 sentences next to each one. So for this example, what I've done is I've put problem, and so now just to bring y'all up to speed, this right here, this executive summary is based on one of my other companies. I am a serial entrepreneur, tutor for finance, and so I've written a business plan for that one, and so that's what I'm using for it as an example. So for this executive summary, the problem that my company is going to be solving, or the first sentence that I'd lead off with, is that finance courses have become a required component to complete for most business degrees in undergraduate and graduate level curriculums. So the problem is, and I'm building up to it, is that students, they gotta take finance, it sucks, they struggle with it, they need help. That's the problem in a nutshell. And so summarize your problem for 1 to 2 sentences. Once you got your problem identified, then introduce your company. The way I like to introduce my company in almost all my business plans, I'm going to introduce what's the name of the company. Is it a limited liability? Is it a sole proprietor? Is it a partnership? What kind of business structure is it? Put it right there, flat out, right out there, front and center. Then put the location. Where is it going to be located? This right here, this is my home office. So you're going to introduce the company, you're going to introduce the corporation, the business structure, and then you're going to put in the address or where it's located. And you don't even have to put the address, put Sanford, Florida, or wherever you're at, but just put the city and state. And in one sentence, you pretty much summed up where your company is going to be, the name of your company, and the business structure. Once that is done, then dive into answering the question of how are you going to solve this problem. In order to solve the problem with students struggling, our business is going to employ professional tutors with master's degree or higher. Our firm will offer finance tutoring lessons in person and online. So now we've got a brief summation of what the company is going to do. Then your target market, which you got to find out, is who the heck has this problem. I'm not going to try to tutor people for finance if they're, in kindergarten, painting murals on the wall with, the mud they, scraped off their shoes. So make sure you identify who has the problem. And so so the target market for a tutor for finance is going to be college students taking finance courses. And you see how I go really nice and broad with this one right here. So it's going to be taking finance courses. And then once I introduce a broad topic, then I go into details. Students may be taking a wide range of courses such as, and boom, now I'm talking about the international finance, the fundamentals of finance, corporate finance, introduction to finance, international finance, and then even capital budgeting. So again, I'm going broad with the first sentence, and then I start going into details. The competitive advantage will all of our tell the reader what your company is going to do better, or how you're going to differentiate from other companies. For my company right here, I only employ tutors with a master's degree or higher, in finance or a related subject. That's it. You got to have that upper level degree in order to get in my door, kind of a deal. And so that once you identify that, then kind of explain to the reader in a sentence or two as to why that's important. The next one right here is going to be your financial highlights. Again, 1 to 2 sentences is fine. When you're doing that, if you don't know what your numbers are, well, guess what? These are projections. So just estimate it. So for the first year, we expect to have revenues of, $80,000. Who knows? Obviously, these numbers right here are incorrect for finance or for a tutoring company, but this is just an example. And so what I'm doing here is, if you don't know what your financial highlights are, just go ahead and throw some estimates out there, and then you can go ahead and you can put them together later. But at least you can have a ballpark of kind of what you're expecting here. And then also kind of, just don't break down your costs. Just, what do you expect your costs to be? And then what do you expect your net profits to be? So this is just a real rudimentary financial highlight, but it gives you something to work with and something to build upon later. The final step right here is going to be the funding. And for the funding, straight out, how much you're looking for, $100,000. It could be debt, it could be equity, I don't care. But that's a dollar amount, and that's what I need. Don't put a range in there. Definitely don't put a range in there, because you're gonna open a whole new can of worms. Well, why are you saying $100,000 to $150,000? What are going to be your justifications for this, this, and this? And you're going to be, you're going to be arguing, or you're going to be discussing a topic that really doesn't need to be discussed. When you say this is when you could be more definitive, say I need $100,000 and this is what it's going to cost. Always go as high as you need to go, because it's easier to come down. Yeah, I said I need $100,000, but this cost right here and this cost right here were a little bit less, so I really only need $80,000. A lot easier to go down than to go up. Don't make the mistake of trying to go up. All right, and so once you get your sentences here, check it out. We've got almost a full page, and your executive summary needs to be a full page, or a page, 1 to 2 pages. So just by starting this out right here, now you have your executive summary, and now what you can do is you can take each one of these subtopics and you can blow this up, to a full-fledged business plan. So I'll take this right here, I'll go down here, paste it, Control V, I got my problem, hit enter, backspace a little bit, center this up. Now I've got my title, problem statement. And now I'm ready to go, and now I'm ready to expand upon the problem statement, discussing what the problem is in detail. And so now I'm ready to go into building a business plan. However, I'm doing that based on writing my executive summary first. So that's a critical, it's a great way to do it, in my opinion. The other way to do it is, if you're more experienced, like myself, this is what I always do, is that with your executive summary, the way I like to tell people it is that you've got 2 documents when you have a business plan. You have your executive summary, and then you have your business plan. Everything in the executive summary should be covered in detail in your business plan. However, you should find nothing in your executive summary that is not discussed in your business plan. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. You always want to make sure this right here is a highlight of this, and it introduces nothing new. So the second way to write your executive summary, if you're a little bit more skilled of a writer, as like myself, what I like to do to ensure that I am not adding any components whatsoever to the executive summary, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull information from each one of the sections here. I'm sorry, hold on a second. Alexa, stop. Gotta love the Alexa. All right, so the way that I do this is I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to my executive summary. Bada bing, bada bang. I'm sorry, I'm going to go to my problem statement in my business plan. All right, got my problem statement, copy it, Control C, slam it right here, Control V it. And then I'm going to go to my company and product. Again, I'm going to copy it, Control V, product description. And actually for this right here, I'm going to grab this whole thing, Control C, Control V it. And then I'm going to go searching for my target market. And for my target market, it shall be right here. I'm going to Control C it, Control V it, and then I'm going to go to my competitive advantage section, which is going to be up here. Here it is. Copy it, Control V it, and then financial highlights, we're going to go way down here. And we scroll and we scroll and we scroll some more. Financial highlights, and then I'll take my financial highlights, copy that, slam it down here. And then for funding, and that needs to go a little bit further down. And then for funding, I'm going to go ahead and search out my funding. Here's my funding request, and then I'm going to grab the bottom part of it, Control copy, Control V. And so now what I've just done is I have taken the important aspects that most people are going to want to see from the business plan, and I've transferred it into the executive summary. So I've got a little bit of a mess here that I need to clean up. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with my problem statement. I'm going to hit backspace. I'm going to put the problem statement right next to what the problem with the colon is. And then I'm going to go through here and I'm going to summarize it. And just for argument's sake and for brevity, I'm just going to delete something. All right, so now I've got a brief discussion in reference to the problem. And then for the company product, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of the topics here. And I don't want the descriptions in here. Only thing I really want is going to be the services I'm going to offer. And then I'll type in something like this. The services we will offer are, and boom, I'm just talking about the services. You don't want to go into detail right here because again, you don't have that much real estate, and you kind of want to keep it short and sweet here. All right, and then the services offered is going to be finance tutoring, so fix my capitalization, tutoring sessions, and then put my and, fix my capitalization, put my S, fix my capitalization, put my F, fix my A, and fix my T, and then put my period. And so now we've got a brief discussion about my company and the services we're going to offer. Next thing is going to be the target market. I'm going to go ahead and, as you can see, each time I finish a section, I'm pulling it up where there's only one space, so it's nice and clear and easy to read. Target market, now we're ready to go with target market. And then again, just delete some of the information here. The second target market, you want to stay concise, you want to stay focused when you talk about your target market in your executive summary. So if you got a primary and a secondary, just go with the primary in there. Competitive advantages, you know what, I like this. It's only four lines, it's short, it's sweet, it's to the point. We're going to leave it the way it is. And then we got the financial summary, or financial highlights. And for the financial highlights, I usually like to cut it off after the net profit for the first year. Gone. And then for the final one right here, it's going to be the funding. I kind of like to leave a little bit of meat in the funding here. And so for the funding, I'll put in order to 1, 2, make sure it's spaced, make sure everything's spaced. And so I'll leave the information right there. And I'll leave a little bit of details on how much money I need and how the money is going to be paid back. And so once I'm done with this, you can see that this took less than 5 minutes to write up an executive summary. And this executive summary not only has an excellent structure with easy to read, identify the problem, the company product, the target market, the competitive advantages, financial highlights, and the funding, but it's broken up, it's concise, and once the reader finishes reading this, they're going to understand, like, wow, all right, I understand the totality of the company and understand how much you're looking for, and I'm understanding what the profits are going to be. So they're going to be able to, make a real quick judgment call if, do they want to invest? Or if it's a loan officer, do they actually want to give you the money? Or if they're not interested. If they're not interested, that you all know up front and you don't have to waste your time. If they are interested, then they can go into the business plan, dive into it, and get some more information in each one of these topics and then some. So hopefully this information is helpful to show you all how to write a business plan. And if y'all are looking to raise funds for your small business, make sure to pick up one of my books here. And one of my most popular ones is going to be a complete small business guide to fundraising in 2019. And obviously it's going to be good for 2019 and beyond. And you can get that on Amazon, paperback, or on the Kindle. And if you all need some help writing a business plan, here's my information. And if you like this video, and I hope you do, please, please, please give me a like. And if you all need some help writing a business plan, don't be a stranger and give me a shout. Thank you.